Most people have had at least one person who's made ministry harder than it had to be. In this episode, I share painful moments, from constant criticism to being asked to resign minutes before morning worship. It's good to learn how to respond without becoming bitter or difficult myself. I tell those stories and share the hard-earned principles that help me move from simply enduring difficult people to dealing with them wisely.
Welcome to Gleaning Mustard Seeds with Jerrie Barber. Mr. Barber is a preacher, a ventriloquist, a barefoot runner, and writes 2 blogs. When Jerrie communicates, he encourages people, try not to learn very much. Find a mustard seed. In the next few minutes, try not to learn very much. Look for something you can do to move a mountain, remove a stumbling block, or provide a stepping stone for yourself or someone else. And now, here's Jerrie with this week's mustard seed.
I began by saying I've had few people who aggravated me constantly. I'll be discussing some people who brought pain for a time and how I dealt with each one. As a young preacher, a man came to the church building each Saturday to talk. At that time, I worked 7 days a week. It didn't occur to me not to be there on Saturday morning. He wouldn't come up to my office on the 2nd floor. He sat on the 3rd step. His visit consisted of telling me about good preachers who I was not as good as. His speech was consistent. Tom Holland and Ellen Hires enunciate and pronounce words clearly. They arrange their thoughts in a logical manner. What I heard him say was, "You don't talk plain, you're not well organized." I did nothing but endure, week after week after week. 2 ladies came to the building at 1 o'clock each Friday afternoon to clean the building. They commented on the previous Sunday's sermon loudly. One was in the front of the building, the other in the back. I could hear them in my study. Following a Sunday sermon on giving, they repeated, "These young people think you can just give and give and give. You can't just give and give and give. Someday they'll learn you can't just give and give and give." I was devastated. After a few weeks, I realized no one told me I had to be at the building at 1 o'clock on Friday afternoon. I started visiting the hospital Friday afternoon. That's progress. The most painful experience in my preaching history occurred December 19, 1976. I'd taught my Bible class in the basement and walked upstairs for the morning service. One of the elders said, "Brother Jerry, will you step into the office?" I cooperated. His next statement, "Brother Jerry, I think it'd be good if you'd think about resigning this morning." That had never entered my mind. As I entered the service, the first song we sang was, "Anywhere is Home." I preached my sermon, went home, ate lunch, told Gail I'd been fired, and went to a deacon's house, cried a good part of the afternoon, preached that night, and started making calls to find a place to preach. I did learn a great lesson, and it provided material for a blog post and a podcast episode. The best day of the week to fire your preacher. How not to distract a preacher immediately before worship begins. I'll put a link in the show notes for that episode. At another congregation, a man was appointed an elder who thought I had too much power. He didn't talk it out. He and the other elders acted it out. Soon after he was appointed, I was excluded from many elders' meetings. My suggestions were rarely considered. The rules had changed. I wrote 2 epistles to the elders asking for an explanation. They said nothing had changed. After about a year and a half, thinking and praying for wisdom and seeking wise counsel, I told the elders I thought it was time for me to leave. We set up a workshop with a counselor, talked about why I was leaving, how to announce it, and carried out the plan. There was no conflict in the congregation. I've been blessed. The congregation did well after I left. As I was preparing to begin one of my interims, a brother sent out an email with false information. He was irritated at the elders of the church where I was going, and he advised me not to work with them. After reading the email, I called him. I said, "I received an email with your name on it. Did you write that?" He replied he did. I told him that was false information and asked where he gained that information. He said, "Two deacons told him that's what the two elders said in an elder-deacon meeting." I asked him, "Do you trust those elders to tell the truth?" He said he didn't. I said, "Now let me get this straight. You received hearsay information from two deacons who quoted two elders that you don't trust to tell the truth, and you sent that information in an email as a fact. I don't understand." After about an hour, this brother, who is impeccable in his soundness and faithfulness, apologized for sending false information, but he refused to send an email to correct the false information. About a year later, he sent another email with false information. I called him and requested he select a brother he trusted, and I'd select a brother I trusted to let them help us resolve our differences. He refused. I encouraged him several times to select a person, place, and time for us to discuss. He still refused. My reply: "I'll wait 2 weeks. I hope you change your mind. You've done much good and have many good qualities. I'd like to resolve this problem. If you refuse, I promise not to spread your name in the brotherhood, but when I know someone who'll be interacting with you, I'll warn them that you've been deceitful with me and have consistently refused to correct it." He hasn't corrected, but he hasn't written more false accusations that I'm aware of. Here are some principles to deal with difficult people. 1. Why do people do what they do? People do what they do because they think it's the best thing to do for them at this time. Proverbs 21:2. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the hearts. Why would anybody do that? They think it's the right thing to do. I'll leave a link in the show notes for a blog post on that topic. When I understand that, it changes my attitude toward the people involved. Most people aren't trying to make your day and their day miserable. They think they're being helpful. 2. Practice accepting, inviting, and enjoying criticism. I had many more difficult people in my life when I deflected and avoided criticism. When I started cultivating and encouraging criticism, I've had less difficult people. Criticism rule. A leader is more like a lightning rod than a cute wall decoration. Or, as Kirk Brothers says, if you don't want to get your nose blooded, don't get in the ring. You can listen to my workshop on how to accept, invite, and enjoy criticism. I'll put a link in the show notes. 3rd principle: be thankful for good qualities and actions of difficult people. While he was in prison, Paul had fellow preachers who were insincere and wanting to hurt him. What was Paul to do? Here's what he said: "Only that in every way, whether in pretense or in truth, Christ is preached. And in this I rejoice, yes, and will rejoice." Philippians 1:12-18. Paul's able to look beyond bad attitudes, insincerity, and desire to harm him to their good points and rejoice in those. 4. Reflect on what I did or didn't do to enable that person to inflict pain. My observation: many times when people hurt me, I gave them permission and have often helped them. I have a podcast episode, 3 Ways I Helped Get Myself Fired. Why would anyone want to release a good preacher like me? I'll put a link in the show notes for that episode. Principle number 5, pray, aim, and work toward not being a difficult person. Am I on someone's list of difficult people? If so, what can I do to be removed from that list? Number 6, don't be a victim. If people are hurting you and there's nothing you can do to prevent or rectify it, you're at the mercy of the next person or group who wants to hurt you. Ask for help. Think. Reflect. How did I contribute to that? Or what can I do to prevent it the next time? I've had several people comment, people always running all over me. My question is, when did you lie down? It's hard to run over someone 5 feet 10 inches tall unless he or she cooperates.
Thank you for listening to Gleaning Mustard Seeds with Jerrie Barber. If you found a mustard seed, send a text or email with the link to a friend. This podcast was brought to you by Jerrie Wayne Barber, Sales Manager with AmeriPro Roofing. AmeriPro Roofing has been around since the year 2000 and has had an office in Franklin, Tennessee for the last 10 years. We have installed well over 200,000 roofs nationwide and are excellent at replacing roofs, gutters, and siding. We are reasonably priced and outstanding at working with your insurance, which helps minimize your out-of-pocket expense. If you would like a free inspection of your roof and other exteriors, please call Jerrie Barber at 931-628-3390 for an appointment in Middle Tennessee. AmeriPro Roofing. Standards through the roof. Thank you for listening. Jerrie looks forward to next week as we continue to collect and plant mustard seeds.